Tom Dixon, thank you for being here. Please, could you put a few words on where are we actually? And what is this?
Well, we're in the east of London, in an amazing tower built by Herzog and de Meuron, the famous Swiss architects, where pretty much we are actually on the top floor. So we have an amazing view of the whole of the east of London, which has got the incredible curving river. And really what used to be the biggest port in the world is right below us. And of course now it's mainly offices and apartments and new business and new buildings. It was battered during the war, but it's been reconstructed relatively recently in the last 20 or 30 years.
And you're here because you got involved with the project?
Yeah, I mean, so this is probably the best apartment in the whole of 56 floors of tower, mainly because of its views and its high ceilings. And we've been asked really to do a show flat to demonstrate what it could look like for prospective clients.
Yeah, so you have decorated this place and found all the pieces, right? Yeah. How do you, I mean, just a few words, how do you in general source the pieces?
Well, you have to put yourself in the mindset of somebody who might want this apartment and maybe even create a character of some sort. And for this apartment, we kind of decided that it would be an art collector.
Okay.
Somebody who was obviously interested in design, just in general. And somebody that really wanted the finest pieces in their apartment and would leave quite a lot of space around each iconic piece.
Well, please, let's put some words on the Paul Henningsen and the Paul Henningsen piano, because honestly, that's why we're here, both of us together now. I mean, Paul Henningsen is best known for the pH lamps. We have one over here. But Tom, I mean, you know everything about design, all about the iconic pieces. So you must have known about the pH pianos for many, many years. Please, could you tell me, when did it come to your mind that Paul Henningsen actually also designed pianos?
Well, I mean, I have to challenge that statement. I mean, I've only discovered very recently that Paul made a piano at all. And I think it's a bit of hidden history, which is kind of very interesting. Obviously, he's known for his superior knowledge of electrical lighting, you know, quite early on in the development of electric light, his scientific attitude towards how you illuminate spaces. The pieces are still in production now, which is an extraordinary run if you think about longevity in products.
Yes.
But the piano really came very much as a surprise, you know, and came from Helene, who is Danish, who worked on this project, and her wish to not just promote Danish design, but also have some extraordinary pieces in here that also had functions. So what's great about this is it acts like a sculpture, like an art piece, but it also has this you know, obvious function of piano. Yeah. And I think what's amazing about it is really if you think of the period it was made, because this is 1930, right? So we see all kinds of different aspects to this design, not always aspects that you'd put in 1930, actually.
No.
So I was intrigued by the fact that this must be a very early use of perspex or acrylic.
Yeah, plexiglass perhaps.
You know, so it has, it's all curved.
It's curved.
Which again would have been quite an advanced technique, you know, probably taken from aeroplanes. And, you know, the use of that obviously gives this amazing transparency, and where I think it's revolutionary is that usually the best part of a piano is completely hidden, right? Which is the amazing technology and precision of the layout of the strings. So, you know, just by allowing transparency, we've already got something kind of interesting. But he's gone to this really extravagant kind of, almost like a butterfly wing. So he's spotted the shape of, you know, what looks like a butterfly almost in this. And it's very expressive for a designer who's pretty much known for starting off in Bauhaus time when things were really minimal, right?
Exactly, yeah. So that would be the striking point for you about this design, that he brings out the beauty of the instrument.
Well, I think, there's so many aspects that you could talk about. I mean, in a way, there is a rationale. We know that a grand piano is this shape for very specific reasons, which is really the length of the strings, kind of define the footprint of a grand piano. And I think most people who buy grand pianos might just want the conservative, standard issue object, but this is using the shape to really take it to another dimension. It's also taking into account some interesting characteristics of what you actually do when you're listening to somebody play the piano, like leaning on the side, So most people ignore that.
Exactly.
That would be like a sharp edge on a wooden piano.
Exactly.
These crazy legs, which, really are not even remotely Bauhaus, so almost Baroque in their nature.
Yes.
And again, on a normal piano, you just have, legs in the corner, kind of very conventional. It's a kind of, it's a hybrid of lots and lots of different styles and lots of different ideas, all sitting in a fairly rational kind of footprint, and making something which still looks kind of like it could have been made yesterday, even though it's got this, almost 100-year history, right?
Sure, because as we say, Tom, it belongs to the future. A PH piano designed in 1930 belongs to the future. And I would like to ask you, what commonalities do you actually see between this design from 1930 and your own design from today, from the 21st century?
Well, for me, probably the connection is the interest in the structure and the internals. So by opening up and allowing, even when the piano's in rest mode, the guts of the beast, to be exposed, is something that I like to do quite often. Also, the fact that the structure is very much in evidence, whether that's the structure of the lid or the structure of the actual workings of the piano. For me, this is something where you get free decoration from this kind of incredible array of strings in these beautiful colors of copper and silver, and even the red felt, which is in itself, I think, very decorative. Sure. So I think, celebrating the decorative aspects of functionality is something I'm very interested in.
Yeah. You mentioned before that it's actually a piece of art or a sculpture. I mean, do you think that people buy it as such, or do they buy it as a musical instrument?
Well, what I was saying is it's not a piece of sculpture. What it is it acts as a piece of sculpture, even though it's got a very clear and precise function, right? So you're getting two for the price of one there, right?
There you go. We like that saying. For you, Tom Dixon, what does such a PH piano symbolize? When you come into this amazing, spectacular place here, what does it symbolize?
Well, I mean, it can be all kinds of different things. I mean, for me, some of these things are purely conversation pieces. It symbolizes also the ability to produce something unusual out of something very familiar, And also, it's a celebration of music as well, and the joy of music, So it's got all kinds of different symbols for me.
Yeah. Do you think that actually we will see more of traditional musical instruments, string instruments? I mean, in these times of a lot of disruption and so on, do you think that people will find peace and rest?
Well, I mean, I think we see a lot of kind of crazed development in the more contemporary instruments, particularly electric guitars and so on. What's interesting about this is that it's, piano is something which has evolved to what people thought was its kind of optimum state. and particularly classical instruments are often like that, right? But by using the very set innards of the piano and celebrating the extraordinary curves and rethinking the box, I think that is a model for lots of other classical instruments as well. It's becoming easier to do than it was at the time because of rapid manufacturing techniques, right?
Sure, exactly.
CNC milling, rapid prototyping and all the rest of it. So this required a lot of craftsmanship, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Tom, I would actually like to give you a small task.
I thought you were going to give me a little piano. I'd like to give you a piano.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that later. But the point is, if you were supposed to spoil yourself and make an investment in such a piece of art and a PH piano, how would you actually customize it? Can I ask you?
If I was going to make one myself?
Yeah. Now we have one here. I will tell you, it's rather traditional in the way that it's aluminium list and stainless steel lists and black woven leather. And then the iron frame is a classical color. How would you actually do it?
Well, I'd probably, given the complexity of the mechanism, I would probably try and use just a single material to do the whole lot, but use modern manufacturing techniques to allow me to make all of the curves. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what happened if you were, for instance, to use rapid manufacturing. That's the most up-to-date technique where you actually print parts, and it would be relatively easy to try and do something similar using the latest manufacturing techniques.
Yeah. Would it be black? Would you keep it in the black tone?
No, I don't think I would.
No? Oh, interesting.
No, I mean, I think what's fascinating is like I say, the transparency. I mean, I wonder if it's not possible to increase the transparency so you also see the mechanisms that go from the keys to the hammers, for instance. So I mean, like I say, we've exposed all of the front and the top.
Sure.
What about the section in between, which is also, the most amazing engineering, most refined and precise way of transmitting the finger movements to the strings, and show that in action, because I think that's a very beautiful action anyway.
Yeah, sure. Tom, let me ask you. Now we have made this collaboration between Tom Dixon and PH Pianos concerning this piano at this spectacular place. Do you see a future collaboration between us in similar projects, or maybe other places and so?
Well, I started off in music. I was a musician for 2 years, but my instrument was the bass.
Okay.
So maybe there's something we could do with the bass.
Yeah. Thank you, Tom.
My pleasure, and thanks for bringing it all the way from Denmark. That was a heavy piano to carry, right?
It's a heavy animal.